Day 10 of our 30-day self-care amplified. And it is a kind of a gray, rainy day here in Sarasota, Florida. We're looking at a hurricane out in the oceans that's brewing, that's very big. Looks like it could be headed this way. And the after effect of what's happening in Houston from Hurricane Harvey that went through. This time of the year, it's always a little nerve-wracking down here. We tend to have lots of storms and hurricanes that move through, and I can feel myself just in that place of needing to breathe deeper and hunker down and be prepared in case something happens. Make sure I have my cat carrier and my kid carrier and food and all those things that we have to be ready. Today's theme is about the joy of being bad. And when I say bad, I mean a lot of times with things like self-care or with fitness, we can think that there's got to be forward momentum all the time. And the truth is that growth in particular is a curvy line, that we have to go backwards to go forward, and that there's great gifts in going backwards and getting into the shadows and getting into the being bad sides of ourselves. So rather than label it as bad, I invite you to just look at it as it's all good and look at it as it's all very interesting. And I invite you to even think of some of those things that cannot be domesticated about you, the parts of you that explore new things and look at it as an experiment. Give you one, through experiencing something is how we truly embody it. And it's where we gain our own sense of power through that, versus someone tells you should never do that because you'll get hurt, so you never do it, or you never do that because it's bad for your health, so you never do it. But what if it's something that you just try a little bit to see what happens to your body, or not? Sometimes, and that I'm not promoting trying everything out. There's some things that your body intuitively knows it should not do, and you shouldn't bypass that wisdom. But there's a whole gray area of a spectrum of things that we can harness a lot of energy and a lot of power from by exploring. A lot of gifts in those shadowy things. So if you think of those sides of yourself that cannot be domesticated, the wild self, the part of you that has weird quirks, that needs to do weird things, that if you can bypass the judging them and allow them so you can feel their power and own their power, it will be something you can use in your life that will, I think, greatly enhance it. So what I do is when I'm feeling say dark, there's a couple of tools I do. One, I vent. And venting helps me release and gives me a mirror to look at who am I that is doing the venting. So I have certain friends that know all the different aspects of me and my best and at my worst, and I'm comfortable sharing and just taking 2 or 5 minutes. I'll keep it in a container of saying, I'm just going to vent, just witness me, and I will go off. I sometimes do this with writing as well. And when I write, but I don't let anybody see it. And I tell myself I'm going to look at it the next day. And I get clear on who's the archetype, which part of Kelly is doing this venting. So I don't cause damage, but it gives me a mirror to look at myself and to look at that dark aspect of myself and to envelop her, not to push her away, but to say, wonderful, welcome home. And, there's just such wonderful powers, and this sense of deep, what's under the surface gets cleared, and that opens up an internal sense of having more energy, because those shadows are always lurking underneath the surface, and they're driving us unconsciously a lot of the time. So if you give yourself permission to be bad, whatever that is for you. Yesterday I just was in bed most of the day in my pajamas, I think until 4, or maybe it was a little before that, and ate cheese popcorn in bed. And it's not eating right, but I needed to just really feel my way into being with my body wanted to do, and it didn't want to do anything that I knew was the healthy things. I wanted to just kind of percolate in this space of what I needed to do. And today I feel more courageous coming out with it and sharing it. And I know that if I go the other route, I go into perfectionism, and that gets me really twisted and out of what is authentic for me. And that ultimately is less healthy than allowing myself to ride this river that curves around. And there's no perfection. There is just each moment and each day, and being with what I'm experiencing and allowing that to have its gifts. So have some fun being bad when you need to, and let's dance bad dancing. Here we go. Let's straighten out this camera a little bit. Oh. This song is called The Veil by Peter Gabriel.
Underneath the sky, where the cold winds cross, there is an ocean where data flows. One man in a boat out on the sea of little bits of you and me. Let it all go, set it all free. You let the whole wide world see exactly what is going on, exactly who's looking on. There's no safe place to go. Now you've let that whistle blow. Show exactly what is going on. Show exactly who is looking on. Stories start to leak, they color your name, while up above, cloud turns to rain. You can feel the touch of a hand you know well. It's a very long way from where we land. Let it all go, set it all free. You let the whole wide world see exactly what is going on, exactly who's looking on. There's no safe place to go. Now you've let that whistle blow. Show exactly what is going on. Show exactly who's looking on. Some say you're a patriot, some call you a sign, an American hero, or a traitor that deserves to die. In the heart of the free world, in the home of the brave, you gave up everything to bring down the veil. Let it all go, set it all free. You let the whole wide world see exactly what is going on, exactly who's looking on. There's no safe place to go. Now you've let that whistle blow. what is going on. Show exactly who's looking on.